Right now, in 2026, the CEO of Anthropic, one of the most advanced AI companies on the planet, says a machine more capable than every human on Earth at everything could arrive this year. Not someday, possibly before this year is even over. That's Dario Amodei talking about the technology his own company is building. Meanwhile, the CEO of Google DeepMind says the real milestone is 2030, and a broad survey of independent AI researchers outside these companies puts the average guess somewhere between 2040 and 2061, decades away, maybe outside some of our lifetimes. And here's the part that makes this genuinely strange. It isn't just talk. Anthropic's own AI is already writing more than 80% of Anthropic's own code, up from almost nothing about a year before. That's not a prediction. That's happening right now, inside one of the companies at the very center of this race. So which is it? Is superintelligence decades away, or is it already starting right under our noses? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the people closest to this technology can't agree, and you'll have enough real, verified information to make up your own mind about who's more likely right. Before going further, let's be precise about the words, because they get thrown around loosely. You've probably heard the term AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. That means an AI system that can do essentially any intellectual task a human can do. Writing, reasoning, planning, learning new skills at a human level across the board, not just one narrow specialty. Superintelligence is a different, bigger claim. It doesn't mean matching humans. It means an AI that is better than every human at every task, by a margin so large we don't even have good language for it yet. Think of the difference between a very good high school chess player and the best chess engine in the world. The engine doesn't just win. It sees things no human ever would, makes moves no human would consider, and does it instantly. Superintelligence, as researchers use the term, would be that kind of gap, but across everything. Science, medicine, engineering, strategy, persuasion, all of it at once. Okay, so now the terms are clear. But notice, that alone doesn't explain a 30-year gap in predictions. Everyone agrees on what superintelligence would mean. They just can't agree on when it hits. And that's actually the more interesting mystery, because it means the disagreement isn't about definitions at all. It's about something happening beneath the surface right now, that different people are standing different distances away from. Once you see what that something is, both the next year prediction and the decades away prediction will make complete sense, as two honest reactions to the same evidence seen from two very different vantage points. Here's the idea that changes how the whole problem looks. It's called recursive self-improvement, and it's been discussed by researchers for decades, long before today's AI existed. The basic idea is simple enough to explain with an everyday picture. Imagine you're not just good at your job, but you're also good at teaching yourself to be better at your job. Every month you don't just do the work, you also improve your own ability to learn. Most people improve slowly in a straight line, but if you're also getting better at getting better, your improvement isn't a straight line anymore. It curves upward, faster and faster, because each gain makes the next gain easier to get. Now apply that idea to an AI system whose job is helping to design better AI systems. If an AI reaches the point where it's genuinely useful at AI research itself, finding better training methods, writing better code, spotting its own weaknesses, then every improvement it makes to itself makes it slightly better at making the next improvement. That's the loop. It's the same shape as a snowball rolling downhill. At the top of the hill, it grows slowly, because it's small and doesn't pick up much snow. But every bit it picks up makes it bigger, which means it picks up snow even faster on the next stretch, which makes it bigger still. Nothing about the hill changed. The snowball just crossed a point where its own size became the thing driving its growth. This is why the disagreement makes sense once you see it this way. People predicting soon aren't necessarily seeing different facts than people predicting decades away. They're making different guesses about whether we've already reached the part of the hill where the snowball starts feeding itself. That's why this isn't just a thought experiment anymore. Anthropic, the company that makes the Claude AI models, also uses AI to help write its own software. When this tool first launched in early 2025, it was writing a low single-digit percentage of their code. By May of 2026, in a report Anthropic itself titled, "When AI Builds Itself," that number had reached over 80% of the code merged into their actual product. Their own engineers were merging roughly 8 times as much code per day as they were just 2 years earlier. And on the hardest, least well-defined coding tasks the company tracks internally, the AI success rate jumped from about 26% to 76% in just 6 months. That's not a prediction. That's a measurement from one company of AI already doing a large and rapidly growing share of the work of building AI. It doesn't prove an intelligence explosion has started. Anthropic itself is careful to say they're not there yet. But it's a real concrete data point showing the loop we just talked about isn't just a theory sitting in a research paper. It's already visibly speeding up inside at least one of the companies at the frontier of this technology. The detail that, to me, is the most important one in this entire story. In 2025 and 2026, more than 1,000 employees working inside Anthropic, OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Meta signed a public statement called Pacing the Frontier. Signers included Anthropic's own CEO and several of its co-founders, OpenAI's chief scientist, Meta's chief scientist, and DeepMind's head of AI safety. What did the statement ask for? Not more funding, not more research talent. They asked their own government for help slowing the technology down, warning that AI may soon be able to automate its own research and development, the exact loop we just described. Think about how unusual that is. These are the people with the most information, the most access, and the most to gain from moving fast. And a huge number of them, from the inside, are asking someone else to apply the brakes. Hope that if the people building this technology are worried enough to ask for outside help, there'd at least be strong safety rules already in place. There aren't, really. One of the most detailed independent report cards on AI safety graded the major AI companies on their safety practices. The highest grade any company received was a C+. That went to Anthropic, the same company whose own employees signed that warning letter. And in February of 2026, Anthropic itself walked back an earlier promise it had made in 2023. A commitment to never train a more powerful AI system unless it could first guarantee its safety measures were adequate. That specific hard stop is no longer part of their policy. When asked why, the company's chief science officer put it plainly. They didn't think it made sense to hold themselves to a unilateral limit while competitors kept racing ahead without one. That's not a company acting in bad faith. It's a company admitting out loud that competitive pressure beat out its own safety commitment. Something wild happening at the exact same time, in the opposite direction. While some companies race toward AI smarter than any human, there's real evidence AI could also be making itself dumber. As of 2026, somewhere between 64 and 74% of newly published content on the internet involves AI generation in some way. And on some social platforms, nearly 80% of new images are AI generated. Here's why that's a problem. AI models learn by studying huge amounts of text and images scraped from the internet. If more and more of what's on the internet was itself written or drawn by AI, new AI models start learning from copies of copies of copies. Picture a photocopier making a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Each copy loses a little detail, a little sharpness, especially the rare, unusual details that don't repeat often. Researchers proved this formally in a study published in the journal Nature in 2024. Models trained repeatedly on their own generated data slowly lose the rare, unusual but valid patterns from the original real data and drift toward duller, more repetitive, less accurate output. Now I want to be careful not to overstate this because it's tempting to connect it to everything else we just talked about, and that connection isn't actually supported. Model collapse is not why companies are racing towards superintelligence. That race is driven by competition between companies, national security concerns between countries, and enormous projected profits, not by a need to fix data quality. Model collapse is its own, separate problem, mostly managed today by carefully mixing in real, human-made data during training. But it is a genuinely strange irony sitting alongside everything else. At the exact moment some researchers worry we're accelerating toward AI smarter than any human, a quieter risk is that the flood of AI content those same systems produce could be slowly poisoning the well that all future AI has to learn from. Be totally clear about what's real, because a lot of this video has been pretty wild. This is real. The loop that could make superintelligence arrive fast, recursive self-improvement, is a well-understood idea. Decades old, not fresh speculation. This is real. There is now a measured, verified example of AI accelerating AI development inside a major AI lab happening right now, today. This is real. Over 1,000 of the people who understand this technology better than almost anyone alive are worried enough to publicly ask their own governments for outside limits. And this is real. The industry's own independent safety report card doesn't have a single A on it, anywhere. Here's the one thing that isn't real, or at least isn't known. The date. Not Ammo Days, maybe this year. Not Hassabis's 2030. Not the researchers' 2050. Not even the 1,000+ employees who signed that letter. Nobody actually knows, including, remarkably, the people building it with their own hands. And that might be the single most important sentence in this entire video. The most consequential technology of our lifetime is being built by people standing at the edge of something, and even they can't see how big it is.